Welcome back. Hi everyone, it's Jacqueline and this is Chesticles. My funny stories of things that have happened through my life, and I want to share them with you. So I was just thinking about this and I thought I have to tell my friends out there this funny story because it's a little awkward, but it's funny. So I've told you before, I waited to get married. I really did not want to get married. Didn't want to get divorced. That's really the truth. Marriage was fine. The divorce part was the scary part. And it seemed like, to me, all marriages are going to end in divorce eventually. So anyway, my friend had just gotten laid off from her job, and she was really down in the dumps. And she was my travel buddy. We travel all the time together, young, single, had good jobs, but she got laid off. So I said, well, you know what that means? We have to go away. We have to go do something. And back then, you would go to a travel agent. It wasn't as easy as just booking something online like it is now. But called our travel agent. She says, well, you know what? I have, and this was in 1999. She says, I have a trip to Jamaica, all inclusive, which we were all about the all inclusive. Because, our bar bill would just, we'd have to sell our houses. But anyway, we went to Jamaica just on a whim. I asked my boss the next day, I said, is it okay if I take off tomorrow? I'm going to go to Jamaica. And he was fine with it. No problem. So we went to Jamaica and we had a blast. We stayed at we were in Ocho Rios. And we were at a gorgeous resort with beautiful. Oh, gosh, I wish I was there right now. Honestly, it was so beautiful. Anyway, in our resort, that's where, the big club of the town was. That's where everybody went. Now, because we were guests at the hotel, we did not have to pay, and we could drink for free and eat for free, of course, too. So we had just finished dinner, and, then went to the disco. That's what we called it, the disco, the club. And my friend had gotten there first. And then I went down a little bit later. And we're sitting there having our drinks, talking to people. What's so fun about vacation? You talk to strangers and you get to see where they're from and hear about their stories and their different accents. And I love that part about traveling, because you just so interesting finding out about other people and where they lived and what they do and what their culture is like. It's always something I love talking. As I told you, I could talk the balls off a pool table, so I have no problem talking to strangers. Well, anyway, my girlfriend, she's very tall. She's 5'11", and I told you I'm 5'2". So typically when we would go out together, we're both single, the tall guys would come up to me to get to her. They'd, come in through me. And the shorter guys would go to her to get to me. So this is typically what we've found out when we would go out. So we're sitting there at the bar and we're drinking and laughing and having a good time. And I wasn't even there I don't think it was 10 minutes. And this tall, gorgeous, absolutely stunning, blue-eyed, blonde hair guy comes up. And I see him staring at me as he's walking towards me. And he comes right up to me. And he's like, all right, you doing okay? And I'm like, oh my God, he's got a British accent to boot. Oh my God. I said, yes, I'm very well, thank you. He's like, oh, right, my name's Paul. Nice to meet you. And that sounded a little Australian. I don't know. I do accents. They're not great, but they're funny. So I said, yeah, very nice to meet you too. My name is Jacqueline. We're from Pennsylvania, United States, blah, 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 which I think he could tell by my accent. So then I introduced him immediately to Maureen because this is really how it's been for years. This is kind of how it goes. I introduced him to beautiful Maureen, and she turns around. She's like, hello, nice to meet you. And he's like, oh, right, Maureen, yep. Turns right back, and he puts his hand up to his chin, and he puts his elbow on the bar, and he's looking at me right in the eyes. He's like, well, tell me more about you, Jacqueline. And I was like, well, I am a dental assistant. His eyes were just so dreamy. and just such a nice guy. Oh, So we're talking for about 5 minutes. He's like, I need to ask you a favor. And I was like, uh-oh. He said, I've got a friend over there, and he's having a bit of a bad luck, His wife just left him for someone else, and we're all here on holiday, and I just wanted to, the minute he walked in, he said, oh, she's nice. And, we've been here 2 weeks, and we haven't hooked him up with anybody. We'd wondered if you wouldn't mind meeting him. So I'm thinking, oh, boy, this is the decoy, right? So I was so disappointed. He's like, yeah, my girlfriend's up there, too, and, So next thing you know, these two guys come down. So the club was 2 floors, steps. There were steps, like 2 levels, I'll call it. So they come down the steps, and they're both walking down, and one guy's broad shoulder, big arms, big legs, he does work out, and he's got this big bright smile on his face, and he's coming towards us all proud. And the other one has his head down. He looks like he's being punished and sent to the corner. And of course, when they come over, that's the one. So they introduced me to him, and I'm like, very nice to meet you, but there's nothing there. This guy looks like he was forced to be there, and it was uncomfortable, and now I'm too old to play these games. So anyway, we started to talk, and then we all got up to dance because there was a group of them. And then next thing you know, the friends say, okay, we're leaving. We're heading back to our hotel, because they weren't staying at our hotel. And they leave this guy with me. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, it was very nice to meet you. He goes, oh, I'm not going anywhere. And I'm like, oh, so now I'm thinking I'm stuck with this guy, But right before they left, I remember I said something sarcastically funny. Imagine that. And his friend, Paul, the decoy, he said something funnier. He tops me, which I love people. I love witty people. And so I think, what I say is funny, but he says something even funnier than me. So I'm laughing really hard. Well, then my guy, he says something funnier than both of us put together. And I remember just thinking, ooh, I remember turning my bar stool around to face him like, okay, he's got my attention. Now this is a funny guy. I like him. And I wish I could remember what it was. I really do, but I don't remember. None of us do, but it worked. Anyway, so we're staying in the bar for a while. The next thing you know, my friend Maureen had met this guy, so she's up dancing and doing whatever with him. So we decide we're going to go in the hot tub. So Maureen's like, come on, we're going in the hot tub. My guy, he's got jeans and a long, which I could never understand, it was Jamaica, but he did have jeans on, and then like a long sleeve button down, one of those just long sleeve button down shirts. So she says, don't worry, I got a pair of shirts you can wear. So we all go into the hot tub, and we weren't in there, the 4 of us, that long, and Maureen and the other fella, they go off. So it's just me and my guy. So we're talking, and I really like him, and I notice he has beautiful blue eyes as well. Really nice. And we start talking, and he's funny, and he is witty, and he's just cracking me up. I really am enjoying myself. So we decide we're going to go to watch the sunrise, because it's getting late, So we go over to the beach, and we're watching the sunrise, and we're kissing and kissing and kissing. And it's just, it's pretty nice, Our feet are in the water, and just watching. You could see the fish flying. You could see the fish swimming up. It was just a very romantic, very first date kind of night. And at one point, a stingray just started swimming up, like right up to us. It was just beautiful. So we're kissing a little bit more, and anyway, he bends over, to turn around to kiss me, and he farts. Well, that's it. I'm done. I don't care how romantic he is. I don't care how funny he is. This man just farted in front of me. So I'm done. So we kiss, finish the kiss. And I said, well, it was such a fun night. I'm so glad I met you, but I'm done. I'm done with this guy, right? So he's like, oh, really? You're going to You done already? And I was like, yep, sun's up. I'm getting tired, He goes, well, tomorrow we're going to this other beach if you want to join me and blah, blah, blah. So I said, yeah, whatever. And then he says, and what room are you staying in? Because, I'll give you a call. And, and I thought, well, I'm not leaving my friend. And I didn't know what her plans were going to be, but I was done with him. He farted. So he's like, all right, then I'll let you go. I suppose just one last kiss. And I said, okay. So I leaned over to kiss him. And I farted. Oh, yes, I did. Oh, yes, I did. See, it was a match made in heaven because I think I'm so high and mighty and I'm so stuck up that he has one. I mean, we're drinking Red Stripe here. Let's just put that out on the table. So I don't think anybody can drink that without farting, but he farts. I'm turned off, and then all of a sudden I fart. Well, neither one of us said excuse me or mentioned it or anything, but I realized it was God's way of saying, listen, you hoity-toity, this is a good guy here, so he was the one. That's how we met. That was our first date. We both farted in front of each other.